What's up, everyone? Happy Friday. In today's video, I wanted to go over a tweet I saw this morning, and that tweet was ranking the top 10 best running backs in the NFL, ranked by executives, players, coaches, and scouts via Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. And I'm going to waste no time and say the utter disrespect for Aaron Jones at this point is absurd. As we see the list here, number 1, Nick Chubb. Number 2, Christian McCaffrey. 3, Josh Jacobs. 4, Saquon Barkley. 5, Derrick Henry. 6, Jonathan Taylor. 7, Alvin Kamara. 8, free agent Dalvin Cook. 9, Tony Pollard. And 10, Austin Eckler. We see in the honorable mentions, Aaron Jones was mentioned with Dameon Pierce, Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, Ramondre Stevenson, and Kenneth Walker. But at this point, not having Aaron Jones at least in your top 10 of running backs in the NFL is just so disrespectful and shows how underrated Aaron Jones really is, because for certain, he is better than a lot of the guys on this list. I'm not saying Aaron Jones should be in the top 5 or top 3 or something like that. Now, you could argue he could be, but I'm just simply saying to not at least have him just in the top 10 is just insane. And I feel like this happens every single year. There's no respect given for Aaron Jones when he is one of the better running backs all around when we're in terms of running the ball, also being a receiver out of the backfield, pretty much everything on offense. He's been one of the best in the NFL for the 6 seasons he's been in the NFL. So to still not get recognition and credibility is just insane. And reading more about how this list was made just makes it even more confusing and questionable. ESPN conducted a comprehensive poll involving executives, players, and coaches to determine the best running backs in the NFL. The survey, part of ESPN's 2023 NFL season preview, was carried out by Jeremy Fowler and involved league executives, coaches, scouts, and players who contributed to ranking the top 10 players at each of the 11 different positions, spanning from quarterback to cornerback and all positions in between. So the fact that there are coaches, scouts, executives, and players making this list, I'm not going to worry too much about the players, because when we see the top 100 every year, that list is garbage anyways. That never really showcases who the actual top 100 players are. There's a lot of snubs and a lot of players that are ranked way too high. So the players I'm not so worried about. But when there's coaches, scouts, and executives, I mean, these are coaches that have to game plan for these players. And there's plenty of coaches that have had to game plan for Aaron Jones, and plenty of coaches that have gotten beaten badly by Aaron Jones. Probably more than a lot of these guys on this list, especially the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if Mike McCarthy is just a little hasty and didn't want to include Aaron Jones on the list, but if it includes anyone from the Dallas Cowboys voting on this, they 100% should have Aaron Jones in the top 3. My point is, and why I wanted to make this video, because it just irked me a little bit to see the continuance of the disrespect for Aaron Jones. And now I wanted to go over all the stats at why he should 100% be in the top 10 over a lot of these guys. So Aaron Jones in 2022 had 1,516 yards from scrimmage, 7 touchdowns, and 5.3 yards per carry. So compared to players on this list, that 1,516 scrimmage yards is more scrimmage yards than Jonathan Taylor, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, and Tony Pollard. His 5.3 yards per carry, which is just insane. Aaron Jones has always had an extremely high yard per carry, pretty much ever since entering the league. That 5.3 is higher than every single person in the top 10. The only other running back above a 5.0 is Tony Pollard. So a lot of this, I think, is based on people simply just looking at the stats and these running backs getting a lot more carries than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones had only 12.5 rushing attempts per game, which first off, I think is criminal. Last year, it seemed like time and time again, we were all sitting here going, give Aaron Jones the ball. And I'm hoping that'll change this year with Jordan Love at the helm. I think there was a lot of times last year where it was probably a designed run play and Aaron Rodgers simply audibled out of it because he thought, hey, this pass play, this RPO, whatever it may be, will work better. A lot of times it didn't. The Packers offense was pretty abysmal last year. And I think if they simply just led with Aaron Jones and gave him the touches he deserved, they might be in the playoffs last year. But I digress. That's not the point of the video. I mean, I guess it kind of is because Aaron Jones is underutilized and underappreciated. But like I said, Aaron Jones had 12.5 rushing yards per game. The only 2 running backs on this list with a lower rushing attempts per game were Tony Pollard and Austin Eckler, which are both receiving backs. So is Aaron Jones, but both these guys are primarily receiving backs. Tony Pollard also being kind of under Zeke Elliott, kind of attributed to that. And Aaron Jones even had more receiving yards than Tony Pollard. And speaking of being a receiving back, Aaron Jones last year had 395 yards in the receiving game. That's more than Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, Dalvin Cook, and like I said, Tony Pollard. So I think I'm really just not understanding why Aaron Jones isn't on this top 10 list when he beats a lot of these players, not only in the stat category, but the eye test. I feel like Aaron Jones is definitely better than Dalvin Cook. This dude isn't even on a football team right now. Yes, a lot of it can be attributed to the money he wants, but Dalvin Cook literally is not on a football team right now, and you have him ranked higher than Aaron Jones as a running back in the NFL. Last time I checked, to be in the NFL, you have to be on a football team. So I'm not saying he won't. I think he'll definitely sign with a team, and he is a good running back, but just the disrespect to put a free agent running back over someone like Aaron Jones. Then you also have Tony Pollard, who, kind of had a breakout season last year, and I do really like him. But it's been 1 year. Like, this dude's been sitting under Ezekiel Elliott for the past, 2 to 3 years? It was his first 1,000 rushing yard season this year, and he's just over that, 1,007 yards. Before that, his highest was 719 the year before that. And like I said, Tony Pollard is a great back, but he just had a pretty decent year, whereas Aaron Jones has had probably 5 years straight where this dude is one of the best backs in the NFL. And then there's Alvin Kamara, who hasn't ran for 1,000 yards in a single season ever. Now, he is a great receiving back, don't get me wrong. I mean, nearly 500 plus yards every single year, so that's obviously why he doesn't get 1,000 yards rushing, because they use him so much in the receiving game. But this guy might not even play the entirety of the 2023 season. So again, how is he a top 10 running back in the NFL if he might not even be able to play? Whereas Aaron Jones has had 1,000 yards rushing in 3 seasons and also has had nearly 500 yards, just under 400 in a lot of the seasons in receiving. So he's not that far off in terms of a receiving back to Alvin Kamara. And it's just the utter disrespect to not have Aaron Jones in the top 10 that just, irks me right now. And it's not like we're sitting here going, oh, well, Aaron Jones had a down year and that's why maybe he's left out of the top 10. It was his best rushing year. Last year was his best rushing year. Not to mention, he has more career rushing yards than everyone on that list except for Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, and Dalvin Cook. Yes, he's played more than a lot of the guys on that list, but you can't be sitting here, oh, it's because he's not consistent and he hasn't been a great running back for the last 4 or 5 years, because he quite literally has, especially compared to a lot of these running backs who have not done that and have less career rushing yards, less career touchdowns, less career receiving yards, and have only done it for a year or two. So again, just extremely confusing. And I'm sure everyone watching this that's at least a Packers fan, or not even a Packers fan, just understand football, will agree that having Aaron Jones off a top 10 running back list in the NFL is absurd. And even Aaron Jones himself agrees. Heading over to his Twitter here, he's already been tweeting about it, as he should, because it's disrespectful. We see here he quote tweeted that exact tweet with a sleeping emoji and a bed emoji saying, "Nothing new. This is every year. Always play myself into the top 10, but thank you for the added fuel to the fire." And honestly, I'm okay with that, because Aaron Jones playing angry is what we want. This dude seems like he's always had kind of a chip on his shoulder. Maybe that does attribute to his drive and him playing so well. This dude is a definition of a Green Bay Packer, taking discounts for the team, playing his heart out through injuries, and being a focal point of the offense after being drafted as a 5th round running back. He also quote tweeted it again with this picture here, basically talking more about the subject, saying, "Why doesn't Aaron Jones get more love as a superstar running back? Over the last 4 years, from 2019 to 2022, he's 6th in total yards and 3rd in touchdowns among running backs, finished 5th or better in overall running back grade at PFF 3 of last 4 years. He's 4th all time among running backs in yards per carry." So I don't know if people just don't pay attention or just for some reason forget about Aaron Jones, but the fact that these are executives, coaches, and scouts and players, which again I don't care about too much, basically not ranking him in the top 10, it just baffles me. Because like I said, these are the guys that game plan against these players. They watch an entire week of film if you're a defensive coordinator, and you see a lot of Aaron Jones, and you go, okay, we have to stop that guy, because if we let him get going, we are going to lose this football game. And there's so many teams that have had to do that and have still gotten beaten by Aaron Jones. So it's still just really crazy to me to see him not ranked in the top 10 here. But I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know how absurd this is. And what would you have him ranked at? What number in the top 10? Just let me know down below. But that about does it for this video. If you guys are new here, post Packers content all throughout the week. Training camp is just under 2 weeks away. Super excited for that. We'll have a ton of Packers content right here on this channel that you do not want to miss. So definitely go click subscribe if you haven't already, and then leave a like on the video to support my channel. But that about does it for this one. I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack Go.